Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good afternoon. We have a very special treat for you today. The devotional will be led by a string quartet comprising of Kathy Andrews of Brattleboro, Melanie Dexter of Shaftesbury, Marcia Cassidy of Norwich, and Roxanne Eastis of Guilford. Members, we have 4 House bills for introduction today. First is House Bill 896, which is an act relating to creating a New England organ Bank specialty license plate, introduced by Representative Canfield of Fairhaven. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 896, an act relating to creating a New England Organ Bank specialty license plate.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Transportation. Next is House Bill 897, which is an act relating to prohibiting the use of social media by children, introduced by Representative Arsenal of Williston and others. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 897, an act relating to prohibiting the use of social media by children.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. House Bill 898 is an act relating to copper-based to fiber-based telecommunications network transitions and consumer protections. Introduced by the Committee on Energy and Digital Infrastructure. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 898, an act relating to copper-based to fiber-based telecommunications network transitions and consumer protections.
Now the bill has been read the first time, and as a committee bill, it is placed on the notice calendar of the next legislative day pursuant to House Rule 58. And finally, House Bill 899 is an act relating to financing multi-unit housing through the Vermont Economic Development Authority, introduced by Representatives Marcotte of Coventry and Grandin of Jericho. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 899, an act relating to financing multi-unit housing through the Vermont Economic Development Authority.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. Members, we have a bill on the notice calendar requiring referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. House Bill 635 is an act relating to eliminating Department of Corrections supervisory fees affecting the revenue of the state. The bill is referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Members, we have a joint Senate resolution to take up at this time. JRS 40 is a joint resolution relating to weekend adjournment on February 13th, 2026. It was offered by Senator Baruth and was read and adopted on the part of the Senate. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 40, joint resolution relating to weekend adjournment on February 13th, 2026. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the two houses adjourn on Friday, February 13th, 2026, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, February 17th, 2026.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted in concurrence. Members, we have received requests to read 3 House concurrent resolutions that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar. The first is HCR 181, which is a House concurrent resolution congratulating the winners of the 2025 Spirit of the ADA Award. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas the state of Vermont recognizes the value and capabilities of its workforce, and it has a strong commitment to equal opportunity for all, regardless of disability, race, color, gender, age, sexual orientation, religion, or national origin. And whereas our state, its people, and its economy benefit when all Vermonters of all abilities are provided the opportunity to contribute their skills, talents, and gifts as part of Vermont's workforce. And whereas the Governor's Committee on the Employment of People with Disabilities, the committee, annually presents the Spirit of the ADA Award to businesses that reflect the spirit of the Americans with Disabilities Act in their employment practices. And whereas the criteria that the committee uses to select award recipients include creating an accessibility recruitment and hiring process, incorporating on-the-job accommodations, providing accessible physical structures to ensure that there is success for all employees, and implementing an overall employment strategy that includes hiring people with disabilities. And whereas the 2025 Spirit of the ADA Award winners are American Meadows, August 1st, Avis Home Care Services, Byrne Chocolates of Vermont, Blackwell Bookkeeping, CP Dudley Store, Casella Waste Systems Incorporated, Copley Hospital, Eastview at Middlebury, Elevate, Fairfield Inn and Suites Waterbury Stowe by Marriott, Garden Path Elder Living, Bradley House, Green Mountain Habitat for Humanity, Swanton, Janatech Maple Fields, Morrisville, Ocean State Job Lots, Morrisville, Price Chopper, Morrisville, Price Chopper, West Rutland, Sonex, Special Needs Support Center, SNSC, Stella Healthcare Group, the Berry Partnership, Trio Community Meals, Vermont Granite Museum, Von Trapp Family Lodge and Resort, and Walmart Rutland. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly congratulates the winners of the 2025 Spirit of the ADA Award, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to each recipient of a 2025 Spirit of the ADA Award.
Next is HCR 189, which is a House concurrent resolution designating February 11th, 2026 as Disability Advocacy Day at the State House. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas the Vermont Coalition for Disability Rights, VCDR, founded in 1974, serves as a statewide coalition of disability rights organizations working to protect and advance people with disabilities. And whereas the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act, Public Law Number 101 to 336, 1990, ADA, as amended, established comprehensive civil rights protections for persons with disabilities. And whereas in Olmstead versus LC 527 U.S. 581, 1999, the U.S. Supreme Court affirmed that unnecessary institutionalization of people with disabilities constitutes discrimination under the ADA. And whereas the closure of the Brandon Training School in 1993 marked a historic moment in Vermont's disability rights progress, ending the state's operation of institutional facilities for persons with disabilities. And whereas in Vermont, the prevalence of persons with disabilities is increasing, and they now represent 1 in 4 Vermonters. And whereas recent state data shows that academic achievement and high school graduation rates for persons with disabilities and for students studying under an individual education program are lower compared to overall rates for the student population. And these educational disparities have long-term life implications. And whereas persons with disabilities continue to face barriers in accessing voting, securing employment, finding housing, and arranging for transportation, and are more likely to contemplate suicide. And whereas despite these challenges, persons with disabilities make impressive and praiseworthy societal contributions in Vermont. And whereas Disability Advocacy Day has occurred at the State House for many years and provides an important opportunity to recognize progress while acknowledging ongoing challenges. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly designates February 11th, 2026 as Disability Advocacy Day at the State House. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to VCDR.
And finally, HCR 192 is a House concurrent resolution recognizing February 11th, 2026 as National 211 Day in Vermont and celebrating the outstanding community contributions of Vermont 211. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas Vermont 211 is a nationally accredited health and human services helpline that the United Way of Vermont operates, and it provides statewide information and referral services. And whereas Vermont 211 offers streamlined and easy access to over 1,100 community-based agencies that serve Vermonters via phone, text, email, and website, with 3,270 programs and 11,900 services. And whereas the dedicated Vermont 211 staff vets and updates information about the resources in the organization's robust database. And whereas Vermont 211 employs a team of 8 trained and empathetic specialists who, in a safe and confidential manner, are able to work with Vermonters and help assess their community service needs. And whereas for more than 20 years, Vermont 211 has delivered this vital community resource to Vermonters daily and in emergency situations. And whereas in 2025, Vermont 211 received over 61,000 contacts via phone calls, texts, and emails, resulting in over 22,000 referrals. And whereas the most commonly requested services were for basic needs such as access to housing, utilities, and public assistance. And whereas through its response to non-emergency calls, Vermont 211 helps maintain the integrity of the 911 system. And whereas Vermont 211 supports the Department for Children and Families, managing its general assistance after hours call from 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, as well as on weekends and holidays. And whereas this special organization collaborates with the Vermont Emergency Medical Management prior to, during, and after regional, statewide, and national emergencies such as flooding and pandemics. And whereas the member organizations of the Vermont Food Security Roadmap Coalition valued Vermont 211 as an essential partner for the facilitation of robust food support services. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly recognizes February 11th, 2026 as National 211 Day in Vermont and celebrates the outstanding community contributions of Vermont 211. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to Vermont 211.
Are there any announcements? Member from Rutland City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today we recognize Recovery Day in Vermont, a day dedicated to honoring the strength, resilience, and hope of individuals, families, and communities impacted by substance use disorders. Recovery is not a solitary journey. It is supported by a network of dedicated professionals, advocates, and organizations working tirelessly to ensure that every Vermonter has access to the care and resources they need. I want to acknowledge the incredible work of Recovery Partners of Vermont, VAMHA, Vermont Association of Mental Health and Addiction Recovery, and all those involved in the continuum of care from prevention and treatment to recovery support services. These organizations and their partners provide critical pathways to wellness, dignity, and opportunity for thousands across our state. Recovery Day reminds us that recovery is possible and that together, through compassion and collaboration, we can build a Vermont where every person has a chance to thrive. To all who champion this cause, thank you for your unwavering commitment and for giving hope where it is needed most. Madam Speaker, please join me in welcoming to the People's House dedicated leaders, advocates, and recovery champions from Vermont Recovery Partners, VAMHA, and all those who work every day to strengthen the continuum of care and support recovery across our state. Their presence here today is a testament to the power of community and the belief that recovery is real and worth celebrating.
Will the guest member from Rutland City please rise and be recognized? Member from Coventry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We just heard the reading of the resolution for the Spirit of ADA Awards this year. Each year, the Governor's Committee on the Employment of People with Disabilities honors Vermont employers who exemplify the spirit of the American with Disabilities Act, not only in compliance, but in commitment. These businesses have demonstrated that inclusive hiring is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart and successful business strategy. This year, we celebrate a record number of nominations and recognize 28 employers from across our state who have created accessible recruitment processes, embraced workplace accommodations, and built environments where Vermonters of all disabilities can contribute and thrive. The committee also honored Sonax from Bellows Falls with the 2025 David L. Saggy Memorial Award, which goes to a business who goes above and beyond to provide accommodation for all workers to be successful. With us today is Katie Franco from the Governor's Committee on the Employment of People with Disabilities, Nat Piper with Higher Ability, and several of the businesses who received this award. They're seated behind me in the gallery. Would you please welcome them to the People's House?
Will the guest and member from Coventry please rise and be recognized? Member from Wolcott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We just heard a resolution recognizing today as Disability Advocacy Day. This resolution honors the Vermont Coalition for Disability Rights and reaffirms the civil rights guarantees of the Americans with Disabilities Act. It also highlighted a landmark moment in disability rights history, the Olmstead decision, which confirmed that the necessary institutionalization of people with disabilities is a form of discrimination under the ADA. At the center of the case was Lewis Curtis, a woman whose courage and lived experience helped change the law for millions of Americans. Lewis lived much of her early life in institutions, despite being ready and willing to live in her community. Along with Elaine Wilson, she challenged the unnecessary segregation and stood up for the simple principle that people with disabilities have the right to live in the most integrated setting appropriate to their needs. Lewis went on to live in her community, pursuing her talents as an artist, to share her life with her family and neighbors. Her advocacy reminds us why we must continue to work for access, inclusion, and opportunity for every Vermonter, no matter their ability. I want to note, you can see a piece of her original art, a self-portrait that hangs in the Human Services Committee room. As we observe this day, let us commit to removing barriers in education, employment, housing, transportation, civic life. Please join me in honoring the contributions of Vermonters with disabilities and ensuring every Vermonter can fully participate in and contribute to our communities. Please join me in welcoming them to the People's House. They are seated in the gallery.
Will the guest and member from Wolcott please rise and be recognized? Member from Guilford.
Madam Speaker, thank you very kindly for welcoming me and my friends to play a little bit earlier today. I would love to be able to introduce you to all of them here in the People's House, but two of them had to leave immediately after we played because the Vermont Symphony is performing here tonight and they had to run right to rehearsal. That's why I could do this today, was because the Vermont Symphony is here. But I would like to acknowledge one longtime dear friend of mine. Music happens through long-time relationship, much like we're talking about disability issues today. Music happens because of long-time relationships and friendships over long periods of time. And I'd like you to please welcome Marcia Cassidy, who's here from Windsor. From Norwich. I'm sorry, from Norwich, and a longtime friend. Thank you.
Will the guest and the member from Guilford please rise and be recognized? Member from Chester.
Madam Speaker, many of our constituents are wonderful advocates for a number of incredible things. I would like to introduce one who is an enthusiastic supporter 24/7 for disability awareness. Ann Henshaw is my constituent. She is joined by her husband, Carl, their son, Henry, and their daughter, Beatrice. They are seated behind me, possibly blushing behind me in the gallery. Please help me welcome them to the People's House.
Will the guest, the member from Chester, please rise and be recognized? Member from Hartford.
Madam Speaker, I am delighted to introduce special guests in celebration of National 211 Day on this February 11th, 2-11. and on the 21st anniversary of our own Vermont 211 program. This statewide information and referral system gives Vermonters a confidential place to turn when they need support. They offer community-specific guidance in times of natural disaster and for food, shelter, utilities, tax prep, domestic violence resources, transportation, mental health assessment and treatment, veteran services, parenting programs, and much, much more. 211 made over 22,000 referrals in just the past year. Information can be accessed via an online searchable database or by talking to a real person on 211's trained staff, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We hope that you had a chance to connect with them in the card room today and that you will be able to help spread awareness about this resource with constituents. Please join me in recognizing the executive directors of the local United Way agencies that oversee this crucial service.
Will the guest and the member from Hartford please rise and be recognized? Member from Burlington.
Tonight is the night. February 11th is here, and the VSO and the VSO Chorus will be performing here in the chamber tonight at 7:30, doors at 7. Friendly reminder, this is usually a booked of like every seat in the house is taken. So if you are planning on attending, remember to put a reserve sign on your desk. I'll see you tonight.
Member from Derby.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Northeast Kingdom is blessed to have a new organization in the town of Derby helping people with their journeys to recovery. Here today, seated in the gallery, is Lila Bennett from Ben's House, who's done great work and will have a great impact in our community. Please welcome her.
Will the guest and the member from Derby please rise and be recognized? Member from Waitsfield. No? Member from Stowe.
Madam Speaker, 'tis the season. Once again, Vermont has shown its outsized influence on the largest of world stages. 4 years ago, this month, Ryan Cochran-Siegel won a silver medal in Beijing Olympics. He missed gold by 5/100ths of a second. This morning, in the Alps in Italy, Ryan Cochran-Siegel once again achieved, 4 years later, a silver medal in the men's Super G. Now, his achievement is outstanding. He comes from a long line of Olympians of most humble origins, and joining me in this respectful acknowledgement of Ryan Cochran-Siegel's achievement is the member from Richmond and the member from Starksboro. And I include them being from Stowe. Ryan trained and identifies with the Mount Mansfield Ski Club, but he resides in Starksboro, and his family trained him for years on Cochrane Ski Hill. To give you a little perspective, in 1957, on the same slopes in Cortina, the last time it was 1956 Olympics, the last time the Winter Games were hosted in Cortina, Tony Seiler's winning margin in the men's downhill was 7.5 seconds. The top 9 finishers in today's Super G were under 9/10ths of 1 second. So this is an incredibly competitive world, and we look forward to acknowledging more of Vermont's outsized impact on the world stage as the Olympic Games continue. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Member from Weston.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to introduce the volunteers and staff from the Vermont chapter of the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. With chapters across all 50 states, DC, and Puerto Rico, AFSP is the nation's leading nonprofit dedicated to saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide. We are joined today by Sally Hespy, the new area director for Vermont and a resident of Andover, along with more than a dozen advocates. They are here to share their stories and raise awareness about suicide, which remains a leading cause of death in Vermont. Please join me in welcoming them to the People's House.
Will the guest member from Weston please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements, member from South Burlington?
Madam Speaker, tonight is the first in a series of dinners at VSCA headquarters, 155 State Street at 5:30.
Member from Pollitt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department is having their department poster night, spotlighting new science and innovative approaches in wildlife conservation. It will happen in the cafeteria from 4 to 6. Venison samples and other light refreshments will be served. All are welcome. Please take a few minutes to drop by and say hi to the folks at our Fish and Wildlife Department and show your appreciation for the great work they do for Vermonters and Vermont's wildlife.
Are there any further announcements, member from Waitsfield?
Madam Speaker, thank you for calling on me before I even stood up earlier, knowing that I might have something to say. Back on the Olympics topic, I want to clarify a statement I made yesterday celebrating Waitsfield resident Paula Moltzon's Olympic bronze medal win. I said Moltzon won the bronze for slalom. I then stood corrected by the member from Stowe, who let the body know the women's slalom race does not take place until this Sunday. This is true. Paula Moltzon won the bronze yesterday for her slalom run in the team combined, along with teammate Jackie Wiles, who skied the downhill. The women's giant slalom takes place this Sunday. The women's slalom takes place next Wednesday. I appreciate the member from Stowe's correction and his dedication to and knowledge of the many talented athletes in this winter's Olympic Games. And lastly, I'll use this opportunity to remind the members of our legislative ski night scheduled for Wednesday, February 25th, 5 to 10 p.m. at Bolton Valley Resort. A sign-up sheet will be circulated in the next couple days. Thank you.
Member from Berry City.
Madam Speaker, I rise to introduce the body to Tracy Lewis, the Executive Director of the Berry Partnership, and her talented photographer, Shannon Alexander. Tracy is a driving force behind the vibrancy of downtown Berry, from organizing the Berry Heritage Festival, Merry Berry Holidays, and single-handedly saving the holiday craft fair at the auditorium. Her dedication and Shannon's documentation through her photos have brought both vibrancy and significant investment to our city. Please join me in welcoming them to the People's House.
Will the guest member from Berry City please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, we have one bill on our action calendar today. Senate Bill 23 is an act relating to the use of synthetic media in elections. The bill was referred to a committee of conference on the disagreeing votes of the two chambers. The Committee of Conference has met and considered the same and recommends that the House adopt its report, which is printed in today's calendar. Member from Vergennes.
Madam Speaker, I'll be presenting the report from the Committee of Conference. S23, an act relating to the use of synthetic media in elections, originally passed the Senate before crossover last year. The House passed a proposal of amendment at the very end of the session, Earlier this year, the Senate passed a proposal of amendment to the House's proposal of amendment. The House then requested a committee of conference. The committee of conference only had a few differences to settle between the two chambers: the definitions section and the section on how the disclaimer is worded and delivered were the outstanding issues. The committee of conference came to a compromise and is presenting a strike-all report so the chamber can view the proposed legislation in its entirety. Even though there were just a few changes from the last proposals sent by both chambers, we wanted members to be able to view the entirety of the bill. Now for the section summary of the strike-all report. First, section 2031 defines two terms. Deceptive and fraudulent synthetic media means synthetic media that appears to a reasonable person to be a realistic representation of, first, a political candidate that injures the reputation of a political candidate, or an individual that attempts to unduly influence the outcome of an election, including a public question, by providing materially false information to voters. This updated definition reflects a compromise between the versions proposed by the House and Senate, where the two chambers disagreed in the scope of what would be included as deceptive and fraudulent synthetic media. Excuse me. Synthetic media is defined as an image, audio recording, or a video recording of an individual's appearance, speech, or conduct that has been created or intentionally manipulated with the use of digital technology, including artificial intelligence. Again, the two chambers only had a small disagreement about the scope of this definition. The committee of conference decided to allow the representation to be of an individual instead of a political candidate. Now, section 2032 sets forth the disclosure required when publishing a synthetic media message within 90 days of an election. A disclosure is required when a person publishes or distributes synthetic media that the person knows is deceptive and fraudulent synthetic media within 90 days of the election. The disclosure must be the following, quote, "The media has been manipulated or generated by digital technology and depicts speech or conduct that did not occur," close quote. The chambers had disagreed on the exact wording of the disclosure, so the committee of conference collaborated and compromised on a statement it believes is more accurate and informative. If the media is a image or a video, the disclosure must be the size that is easily readable by the average viewer. For audio recordings, the disclosure must be read in a pitch and pace that can be easily heard by the average listener. Both must be made in a way that is inclusive to the greatest extent possible of people with disabilities. This was the only other part of the bill where the chambers disagreed on language. The rest of the bill did not change from the most recent proposal from the Senate to the House. But because this is a strike hold, I will finish doing a quick section by section summary. Subsection B in 2032 provides a few exemptions to the bill: radio, television broadcasting stations, websites, streaming platforms, and mobile applications that broadcast deceptive and fraudulent synthetic media are exempt from the bill's requirements if they acknowledge through their own disclosures that there are questions about the authenticity of the media, if they are paid to broadcast media, or if they are required by federal law to broadcast ads. A website, newspaper, or magazine is exempt if the publication clearly states that the deceptive and fraudulent synthetic media does not accurately represent the speech or conduct of the represented individual. A person that produces or distributes the synthetic media constituting parody is exempt from the bill, as are cell phone companies, internet service providers, and websites that allow users to post content on the site. And just for review, Section 2033 sets forth the penalties and violations for the bill. A person is fined not more than $1,000 for intentional violation unless it is done with the intent to cause violence or bodily harm, in which case the maximum penalty is a $5,000 fine. Fines can be escalated for repeat offenders. Section 2041 of the bill adds the ability for the state's attorney or attorney general to institute an appropriate action for violations of Chapter 35, Title 17, which this bill is categorized under. And lastly, Section 2042 gives authority to the Attorney General and the state's attorney to conduct civil investigations for alleged violations of this chapter that relate to the offenses against the purity of elections. Madam Speaker, the Committee of Conference support of this strike all language was unanimous, with all 6 members signing the report. And I ask for the body's support. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on its part? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have adopted the report of the Committee of Conference. Members, that completes the orders of the day. Are there any announcements? Member from Guilford.
Well, when it rains, it pours or snows. Tomorrow, just a heads up, is Creative Sector Day here in the State House. Vermont's creative sector is made up of artists, businesses, nonprofits, museums, libraries, historical societies, designers, and many, many more, from whom creativity is at the heart of their work. Not only do talented Vermonters enliven our communities and bring us together, they're also a major contributor to Vermont's economy, creating over $1.2 billion in economic activity each year and more than 10,000 jobs. Tomorrow's events will be hosted by the Vermont Creative Network, an initiative of the Arts Council, and I'm actually very proud to have been one of the establishing staff members of the Creative Network 10 years ago in 2016 when it was established by the legislature. Now more than ever, we need Vermonters to be connected to their own creativity, to solve our biggest challenges, to bring us joy, and to remind us of our shared humanity. So after tomorrow's floor session, the Creative Network will host a reception in the Cedar Creek Room, and everyone is invited to experience the creative sector firsthand. There will be snacks, there's always food, and music by a Vermont musician, Avi Salaway, and a display of objects from the collection of the Vermont Historical Society. Thank you.
The chair has a reminder. Members, if you plan to present a House concurrent resolution during town meeting week and have not already submitted the request supporting documentation to Michael Chernick in the Office of Legislative Counsel, please submit both not later than tomorrow at 5 p.m. so it can get processed in time for you. Are there any further announcements? Member from Stowe.
Madam Speaker, may I make a second announcement?
You don't need to ask permission, member.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. I've been reached out to, as has the member from Waitsfield, by the senior member from Newport, wondering why we didn't acknowledge the great silver medal achievement by the mixed doubles curling team. Now, I bring this up because, to my knowledge, the senior member from Newport is the only active international curling competitor in the body, but he was, they were too demure to acknowledge this historic achievement in a U.S. team, not Vermont-based or resided or trained, did lose to Sweden in the gold medal curling, but nonetheless, it was historic silver medal for U.S. curling. So in honor of the member from Newport, thank you, Madam Speaker.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Newport City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to acknowledge that I'm not the only curler in this wonderful body, but we have the chair from Judiciary, who's a curler, and there's a couple of others as well. So I do thank the member from Stowe, and as well as perhaps the member from Waitsfield for making that acknowledgement. But thank you very much. Oh, and one other thing, Madam Speaker. There is no connection to Vermont by the silver medalists in curling, but the male member of that team, Corey somebody, he's from Walpole, Massachusetts, where he learned the sport of kings, I will just say. So thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion? The House, please come to order. Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Thursday, February 12th at 3:30 p.m.?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion this body stand in adjournment until Thursday, February 12th, 2026 at 3:30 p.m.
You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and this body stands in adjournment until tomorrow.